Hi guys, we made it through the well, not through Mercury retrograde quite yet, but we did make it through an eclipse and a retrograde combo, so that's something to celebrate. Uh, it's been the energy has been really chaotic. Some of us have been thriving on the chaos though. Some of us are really in tune with chaos energy, and some of us are very much abrupted by it. But yeah, so that's the energy. It's really all about making way and making a path for what we've been working through as far as like manifesting. Sometimes we got to be really honest with ourselves and how attached to cycles we really are, even if we don't necessarily want to be. We can still get caught up in habits. We can still get caught up in negativity. We can still get caught up in our surroundings, our environment. So yeah, it's really easy for that to happen. Obviously, but with this retrograde and the eclipse and the new year beginning, by the way, I do note Mercury retrograde literally started at the beginning of the year. So it's really about making way. Like Mercury retrograde is not something to fret upon. It's like one of those tower moments. You gotta embrace it with grace. Like there's always change happening, and we're always walking over this bridge to reach change, but sometimes we're just kind of stuck in our path, or we kind of like maybe not lose direction, but we don't walk as fast as we possibly could, or we just kind of stumble or get distracted by other things. So the Mercury retrograde, and honestly this eclipse energy, anything that's here for like renewal, new energy, and new moon, it's going to bring in a lot of like push, just to kind of like motivate you. And it's not always, it's not exactly on those dates, it doesn't happen right as soon as Mercury retrograde happens. It's kind of like a process, or maybe like a reminder from the universe, if you think of it this way, like, hey, there are things that need to shift around in order for us to move in the direction forward. So you take notice of what's happening around you, and even if you don't take notice, like you don't have to be aware, like self-aware of these things happening. But it is something to note. If you do want some like clarity on why things do feel chaotic, they're trying to make way for some things, because again, we get really stuck in our old ways, or we just allow ourselves to become easily distracted and lose focus. And so the universe is going to do its own due, due diligence to push you in the right direction. So if you're not going in the direction you need to be going, it's going to push you there anyway. So you just have to look at these things with a little sense of optimism, because you do have the first card was the Emperor. I actually didn't mention that. I wanted to get through some of that first. But we did have like the Emperor card first. So, this is really bringing you into that main character energy, but it's like really focused growth. Like in order to become the emperor, you have to put in a lot of work, like a lot of intellectual, a lot of physical work, a lot of discipline, and just knowing exactly what needs to be done. Like that sounds a lot easier than it really is. Like it sounds easy, but it's really not. So if you get this card like right off the top of the deck, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign of, being in the right direction, and actually being on the right path. Even if you feel like sometimes like you're not on the right path, we're still working things out. Like there's always like we're always like working. You know how this guy's like building this window here, the Three of Pentacles. Like we're always working. We always have like a shared goal. Um, so that comes in steps. That comes in its process. It's a process, you know? It's not like beginning, end. No, there's like a lot of things in between that too. So it's allowing you to remember, like, even though, because this is where it becomes really important to remember these things, because it is actually a lot easier to forget, no matter how imperial we hold ourselves. You know what I mean? We can still forget these things, that it is all a part of the process, and there's no like end, or sorry, beginning, end. Like, it doesn't just happen that way. It's all a part of building bricks, a foundation, and building up from there. So it's always a part of the process. So it's going to remind you that, you know, yes, you do have this emperor energy. Yes, you are going across the bridge to like this new path, and new opportunities. But you have to remember too to slow down, to really be a part of the process too. So if you allow yourself to be a part of the process, a part of the building process, then you'll allow yourself to slow down, with a lot more ease and a lot more ambition, because you'll be more present. So that's really like, because I know that a lot of us, I'm a Virgo, I'm a go-getter, I get really anxious, and then I get like overstimulated because like I want to do so many things all at once. And then even though I will get a lot of things done, don't get me wrong, I'm still anxious. I'm still like not on track. Because I'm anxious, I'm probably skipping meals, not drinking enough water, by the way, as these cords get tangled up. Drink your water. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, so it's it's really easy to forget that and be present. So the universe is going to find ways to show you that you are on the right path, even though you're not at the end of the glory. There is no real end of the glory too. You just don't think of it that way. Don't expect yourself to build something overnight, and don't want that either, because honestly there's no real glory in that. There's no real gratitude in that. Just, you know, just cheating the process. Like, it's like when you're playing a video game, when you're using all those cheat codes. I'll be real, I've been doing it with Palworld quite a bit, because they keep destroying my entire character and all of my progress. But I've done it like 3 times now, and now I'm like completely fed up with that game. I was going somewhere with this message. I'm sorry. It triggered something very real for me. But no, seriously, if you just allow yourself to just kind of skate through everything, use a bunch of cheat codes, and just spawn all of the items and materials you need to build like the the base that you want to build in Palworld, eventually it gets boring, and you're just like, yeah, I'm fed up with this game. I don't want to play this no more. I'm gonna play something else and switch over to Resident Evil. This is my metaphor. I told y'all I was terrible with metaphors. This is a real life experience. That's all I got for you. But no, seriously, like, you would really, if you haven't ever actually done that, like in Sims or something, or just any type of game that is tiered up and built that way, where progress is literally the purpose of the game, like any type of crafting game, it gets really boring really fast. So just remember that. I don't know if that will really help you specifically, but if you can master that understanding and utilize it in your own life, then it really would make sense. I don't know if you're a gamer. You're probably not. I feel like it would probably make sense to a lot of people, but it really, it doesn't do you a whole lot of benefit to focus on the end goal of something, or unless it's a project, you know, obviously. Like if you're trying to build like a painting or a specific project, like something that's short term versus long term. I guess it really depends on too what it is, but I won't get too crazy with that. But like, if you want to really build something that has like strength and core and has like the detail and is really what you're trying to build and manifest or just create. Like those things take steps and processes, and sometimes it's a slow process, sometimes it's a fast process, but allowing yourself to be present and focus on the details versus the outcome. um Obviously there will be emphasis on outcome, like if you're trying to create a finished product, but you know what I mean, like it's not the end goal. The outcome is not always what's important. Especially if you are doing something creatively like an art project, like it's really important to be in the process itself of creativity, because if and I get stuck doing this on projects, art projects all the time. When I'm just trying to envision like some people, their minds do work this way, don't get me wrong, mine doesn't. But trying to like envision the end of a picture, like in its entirety at the end of the picture, it doesn't really, I mean, yes, it's a part of that if you want to see like your entire picture before you start drafting it and putting it down on a canvas. However, like just envisioning that end goal of what you want that painting to be, it's going to kind of like it's going to I don't know, it's difficult to explain what it does to you, but it kind of like stumbles you. It makes you not necessarily anxious or nervous, but it makes you kind of like stumble on your own thoughts and get stuck. So you're not, this isn't always the case either, so this might not be the greatest example, but like when you're trying to like really like create an entire image. I got a blank canvas waiting here fully for us. So like if you're trying to create a whole image and like your whole idea of the painting process is just to envision the end of it, it never will actually get to this canvas. Like you have to figure out where things are going to be. You're going to have to map things out. Probably more than likely use a ruler if you want to be at least symmetrical about your image. And sometimes those things aren't always that important. Sometimes you can envision something and start just visually drawing it in your brain and then it goes on the paper. Sometimes that does work out. It's really hard to explain that process, so I'm sorry it doesn't make sense, but sometimes you can actually do that. But it's not always how art works out. Sometimes you have to create an image over here and something over here and see how they work out together just as a draft. And sometimes that draft doesn't work out, and so you recalculate and you draw up some scraps. And it's just, it can be something really simple, but looking at things from a simple view is not always what's going to drag you into success. And also, what's not simple, what you don't allow to be simple, you know what I mean? Things that aren't actually that complicated, but we overcomplicate them by, again, being anxious and super hyper focused on the detail or the end goal of a painting. It can get us a little stuck in the process. So it's like times like that is when you need to kind of like, I don't know, go maybe like take a palette cleanser and just take a break or something if you are getting too stuck in the process and you can't really like make the next move. um there may be something that's like missing from the process that you haven't experienced in real life, and things like that click later on in life too, like in your projects. Like I have put projects down and talked and had conversations with people, or was provided a tool later on in life, and so I came back to the project and I was able to like actually complete something. So it's not like if you're trying to manifest something specific and you're just always kind of worried about like the end goal of something, you can really allow yourself to get beaten up by the process, is really what I'm trying to get at here. I know that that took a long time to really say, but I feel like that is like one of the harder things to really overcome when you are like trying to be an entrepreneur, business owner, or just try to build anything really. you can get really lost in like the process. So you want to allow yourself to kind of like become a part of the process. And this is where a lot of like really really great writers, great engineers, where some really great scientists come up with things is through isolation, being really into their process, so they block out like anything else. Some people who want to get really good at something block out like literally anything that doesn't involve what they're trying to focus and grow. So this is where you can really start stimulating like some extra oomph and growth in your manifestations when you start realizing that you are fumbling on yourself, that you are stumbling on your own habitual rituals. No, like there are things that we get really a part of, and that's not necessarily to say that we can't ever change though. But there are things that are really embedded in us, and so it's extra extra difficult to come out of that thinking process or that way of doing things. We have some really good cards here too. We'll just go through them in order. The next card too was also the moon. So if there are some like things that you haven't really like faced, like these things are gonna surface with this retrograde and this eclipse energy. It's gonna surface during and after, so you can see a little bit more of what you were either allowing yourself to see but just weren't really for it. you know you were fighting it, or if there was something that you didn't see and needed more clarity on, and now you can see some of your habits a little bit better, and so you're able to shift them because you have that clarity, that insight of like the subconscious and what you are doing that's kind of holding you back, or kind of keeping you from trying to motivate yourself to go forward. Because sometimes that's all it takes too, is like sometimes we have like a lot of the skill, a lot of like the tools and resources to really start something, but sometimes like we just lack the motivation because we just don't want to do it. Sometimes it's that simple, and it really just takes that motivation. So being really present in the process is where you start to regain that sort of focus, and it allows you to motivate yourself a lot further. Now that I just noticed this. We have like this moon energy too coming from, we got like the moon here, and then we also had the high priestess energy. So we had like the emperor and the high priestess energy. So she's almost like walking by the moon in this reflection, and there's pomegranates in the water too. I wonder what that's about, the pomegranate seeds. That's actually pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, so this Empress energy, she's really starting to walk towards well, it's not even really walk towards anything specific actually. It's really about just being very introspective and intuitive, and allowing your subconscious to kind of guide you. And it's not to say that, because I know that sounds a little weird. Like, why would you want your subconscious to guide you? The high priestess energy doesn't easily get distracted by mundane things. She doesn't. The energy, not she. The energy doesn't really get distracted or thrown off course or given like misdirection when she's using her subconscious. She's more intuitively guided, and so she just trusts the process itself. And this is also where that master energy comes from too. When you are allowing yourself to just be a part of the process, it's allowing yourself to be a part of like your subconscious too, because a lot of really good workers work off of like their subconscious. Like they just allow themselves to just go, and they just almost like robotic. It's just instinct and it just happens. A lot of people work a lot. I don't know if I would say better, but a lot of people do do stimulate or I guess thrive off of that type of energy. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with chaos. So it's not to be necessarily anything like negative. We're kind of attracted to this energy because it allows us to kind of turn everything off and just be in the moment and be in the zone, basically, is another way people like to say it. Like when you're in the zone, that's like you letting your subconscious guide you. This is not always the best way to approach things because you can allow your subconscious to guide you and make plenty of mistakes too. So just be aware of that. But the intuitive side of the high priestess energy is really like it's not about like necessarily like doing a job or a task. But in general, she is guided by intuition and subconscious. So, what she's feeling in tune with, like emotionally guided, which is, there is this balance between emotional guidance and, um, wow, I just had the word. There's emotional guidance, and then there's I guess I don't want to say realistic, but there is realistic guidance, and this comes from like the masculine side. That's not less intuitive, but more focused on like the detail or more focused on I guess influence. So the masculine has more of like the leadership attributes with the emperor, and then the high priestess. Oh wow, I just realized we have the high priestess and we have the empress energy. So we have the high priestess, which is more introspective and more intuitively guided, and the masculine, the emperor energy is more guided with practicality and in doing action. So it's not necessarily a lack of intuitive guidance. It's more of a just practical guidance. I guess it's less emotionally guided. I think that's really the only way I can really say it without hopefully offending anybody. I really don't care about offending anybody, but that's the only way I can really think of describing it. It's less intuitively guided or less emotionally guided, and the high priestess is essentially more emotionally guided. It's not necessarily like the emphasis of it, the energies, but that is just the way to see it. We did also get the Empress energy too. So oh no, sorry, wait, there's one card in between. It's the Page of Pentacles. So again, we've been really manifesting something, but we're kind of like already in tune with what we can manifest and like the power of our manifestation skills. But with this Page of Pentacles, we have like this this financial security. We have like we're able to go with the flow much more easily because we have much more trust in the process because we know that we can manifest the things that we need when we need it. I hope that makes sense. Like it's the Page of Pentacles is really just trying to show you that, I think that you already see this, that you don't have to worry about anything because you can manifest what you need when you need it. But it's here to remind you that. Sometimes we just need a reminder. It's not even necessarily that we don't believe in ourselves. It's good to have a reminder of that sometimes. So, we did get the Empress energy. Wow, I lost her. No, she's under this deck. The Empress energy too. So, we have like the High Priestess and the Empress energies. So, the Empress is more of like a nurturing. So, she's more in tune with like her like feminine energies. Her more giving, connected, and grounded with the earth. So she's allowing herself to be much more feminine and much more present in her world around her, because she's allowed to be much more softer, much more nurturing, because that is her energy. She's a nurturing giver. And it's really hard to tap into that energy when all of that other chaos is what you're embodying. When you're fixated and you're stuck in like survival mode, you can't really embody like the high. You can embody the high priestess energy, but the empress energy is really difficult to maintain, or to be at, I should say, just because it does require a lot more softness, which requires safety, which requires, you know, a safe environment, financial safety, and so it you have to really work towards coming into this energy, and it's not even necessarily what you're doing that will keep you from this energy, but that's just what is I don't want to say required, but in a lot of cases it's definitely required, because in order to really embody those energies, you do have to feel like you can allow yourself to be nurturing, and those nurturing attributes does require that sort of safety feeling. So if you are feeling like, there's things in your immediate environment that aren't allowing you to like thrive in your empress energy, just try to realize what those things are, so you can reconnect yourself with that softer side of you, because that will allow you to. This is funny too. I said that too, and this is a reflection card too. So this is the last card that we got here. So the Four of Swords. That's anything that is keeping you from feeling soft, or keeping you from really being in that Empress energy. Take note of it, because it's really what's going to keep you. I won't say keep you stagnant in this energy, but it will keep you in this energy if you're not allowing yourself to take note of the situations and the connections that are keeping you in that type of energy. So just remember that. You won't really have to worry, but it's important to allow yourself to take, acknowledge the things that are keeping you away from where you need to be. 'Cause sometimes it's not even always our own specific rituals and habits. Sometimes we allow ourselves to be connected with certain types of people, certain specific people, or just one specific person. And that allows us to fall back into the habit. So it's not always to say that you should blame that person either, but you should see and reflect on who you are when you're around those people, because it's not necessarily them per se. There's more situational and environment, and just, familiarity. Like, this is who you were when you met them, and so this is how y'all behave, sort of type of energy. So it's not to say that, you should just be blaming all your friends for why your life isn't working out, but I'm sorry, I was joking. I really was. This is a fun channel. But seriously, like, you should still take note of those things and allow yourself to kind of step away and see, even just for a couple weeks, if those type of energies are what was actually causing you the stagnation, or if it was just you and allowing yourself to utilize excuses around you. I don't know. That's just me. I'm just saying that. I'm not pointing fingers. The universe says, okay, I love you. If you did enjoy today's reading, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And I am going to go live on Twitch later, so if you want a live donation reading, we will be doing that later this evening. And I do private readings. The link is in my bio. But it is spiritchill.blog/tarot, so you can get tarot readings there, or on my Twitch channel. The link is down below. Bye.